Welcome back to the Liquid Green Health Show with your hosts, Fred and Janet Cox. To get on board right now, send us an email, liquidgreenhealthshow@gmail.com. And now, back to your hosts of the Liquid Green Health Show, Fred and Janet Cox.
And welcome back once again. It's way past 5:30, so I'm not going to say that again. My name is Fred Cox. We had some technical difficulties, and hopefully it is all sorted out. We're broadcasting live today, just east of Toronto in Oshawa. So to all our listeners, once again, across Canada, the United States, and around the world, we want to thank you for letting us into your private space. And as we were saying earlier, we're into the lunar year of the Chinese New Year. And today is their New Year celebration. This goes on for a while. It probably may go until around the 5th of February or so. So we want to say Happy New Year to all our listeners from the Asian community. This is something that is celebrated in all Asian countries around the world. Huge festival goes on, and this is the year of the rabbit.
But you know, I think really the new year should be spring. What do you think?
For me, yeah, the new year is springtime.
That's when everything
comes alive. You know,
you have a new year in the middle of winter.
Yeah, you hear more birds swimming, but
religious spin, right?
Not only that, it's the region and where they're celebrating theirs, and that's something that they have been doing for thousands of years. So once again, Happy New Year to all of our Asian listeners, wherever you are in the world today.
And today we have our big party. We're actually going to a Chinese, or the company's Chinese Green World that we talk about.
Yeah, they're having their annual celebration, and so we have been invited.
Off to the races.
Yeah, we've been invited to that, so we're heading down there as soon as the show is over today. So,
but guess what? There's a lot of snow on the road. So,
it's a yearly thing.
But
it happens every year, so we shouldn't be worried, right?
I know, but
shouldn't be worried about it. Yeah. So as today's show, as I had said earlier, for those of you that were listening from the beginning of the beginning,
from the radio,
from the radio only. We're going to be talking about the law of attraction. We're putting a little spiritual spin to our regular Sunday health show. All right. So let's be upfront with this, folks. The law of attraction, some people say it is not a law in the scientific or legal sense.
Yeah, it's a pseudoscience, right?
They call it a pseudoscience. And I think the reason they do that is because they don't have any peer reviews, and they can't, actually pin it down as to what it really does. But if you understand the spiritual realm and how things tend to operate from nature and a spiritual perspective, as far as you are and I'm in that realm, I think along those lines, and I would have to say that it is an exact science when it comes to spirituality. It is an exact science. So whether they want to call it pseudoscience or obia or whatever.
Yeah. Well, basically, what they're basically saying, Frederick, is that they haven't done any studies.
But they can't. There's nothing to.
Right. They haven't done any studies to check whatever part of the mind, the brain. But everybody has accepted that it's all about vibrations.
Yes.
And our thoughts.
Right.
And how our thoughts align with the vibrations,
with the universal principles.
And the universe.
Yes.
Which we call God.
Yes.
And how in touch we are.
Yes.
With that energy, with that force.
Yes.
Right?
Boy, you're bright. Oh, okay. So we are in the flyer we sent out, it says take responsibility for your well-being.
Right. And well-being is so critical, right? Well-being means being well, not just in mind, but in body,
it's a holistic,
in soul,
everything,
holistic wellness,
everything.
Right?
So you get what you predominantly think about, whether you want it or not.
And that is critical to the law of attraction.
And that is a natural law.
And you know what? That has been the most troubling thing for me when it comes to the law of attraction, because it's so weird. It's like a paradox.
Yeah.
If you thinking about good things, you're gonna get good things.
You're gonna get what you put out there.
Or if you're thinking, I don't want bad things, you're gonna get bad things.
Because that's where the energy, everything is being put into that thought.
Of thinking that you don't want something.
Yes, the things that you don't want is what, the story in Job, the things that I hated most, fear the most is what, come upon precisely. So that is a mind, mind thing. So
as they say, what you resist, persists.
Yeah, because
I love it.
Yeah, because every time, listen, if you're angry, you're asking. If you are happy, you're asking. If you're worried, you're asking. So you're basically sowing these seeds into the universe, and the universe is saying, okay, well, this is what Fred likes, and this is what Janet likes. Let's give them more of it.
But later on, we'll talk about something that are really troubling for me, because things like, this is a health show. And for people who are not well, like the maladies, they're sick.
Yes.
And then we're told that through the law of attraction, you actually attract those things.
Listen, that is a very
good or bad, you attract those things.
That's a very controversial statement. Because when you tell people, I mean, you and I know differently, right? When you tell people that, listen, any ailment or sickness that you have, that you're experiencing at the moment, it is something somewhere along the line that you have attracted to you.
And you could have prevented.
And you could have prevented it if you had the knowledge how to do it. Right? Unfortunately, 99.9% of the human race do not know how to think, because we have been bombarded with certain philosophies that you have to adhere to in order to have a good life.
Okay.
All right. And that has taken us out of the spiritual realm. Right. For example, treating the body is about treating the mind. Right?
That's what is given as the law.
Yes.
Whatever you think,
yes,
you are your thoughts. You are what
it will, and where else will it manifest?
Yeah. But coming back to what we were talking about in terms of we're like you bring things to yourself that you don't want. Look at today, for example. We're prepared for the show.
Yes.
Right? And you got all dressed up.
We look for the pimpy today, man.
For one of the first times I actually like how I look on camera, because believe it or not, I'm camera shy, and I usually don't like how I
You are camera shy?
Yes, yes.
I think I am more camera shy than you are.
Shy.
I am
camera shy. I'm not shy if you were to talk. You beat.
I'm an overall. I'm a shy person.
Are good,
I'm very
but
shy.
On camera, right? Yeah. So what happens is, it's not what happens to you, but I think the important thing is how you deal with it.
Yes.
Right. And that is the true way to stay to stay in good harmony with the universe.
But how you deal with it requires.
Crap always happens.
Yes. How you deal with it requires knowledge of certain things, what to do. That's the most important thing, because
to keep your vibrations.
It's staying in that vibrational realm that determines whether you're happy, whether you're sick, whether you're successful in anything that you do, whether you become wealthy, is understanding that for everything that you do is based on vibration.
Right.
Everything.
And therefore you have to do things that it's so difficult as humans to do the things that we know we need to do, to not let people upset us in a conversation and get angry.
Yeah, because
anger and when you don't forgive, and selfishness and pride and all of those things, they diminish our well-being.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. But again, it comes back to discipline. Right? It comes back to knowledge, and it comes back to discipline. When you don't know, you act in a certain way that you perceive to be the correct way.
But I'm going to go to the Bible for a quick example. Look at Jesus on the cross.
Yeah.
And who was more in alignment with the universe.
Very good,
Jesus,
very good
right?
point. Very good point.
And on the cross, I mean, before he forgave, he went, Lama, whatever. I don't remember the Latin version.
Take this cup from me, or something to that effect.
He was willing to, he was stressed.
Yeah.
Why did this have to happen to me? Take it from me.
Precisely.
Right? But then that was just a moment of weakness.
But also.
But we do that as well.
Yeah, but right? It's interesting that you brought that up, and this just came to me. Remember last night, or rather early this morning, we were talking about death.
Oh, yes.
And we said something that we read somewhere, that in when you get to that point, that just before you die, you have to be in agreement. And I'm paraphrasing it.
Yeah,
you have to accept the fact that, hey, this is it, I'm ready to go, right? Because again, it's a transferal of energy, and you have to be incompatible with that energy stream in order for you to move on to the next.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
You are making sense for a change.
I'm getting brighter, folks. Brighter here.
We've studied a lot from the book Ask and It Is Given. It's one of the that we actually own 2 copies of this book. Every book,
and one is missing. No, folks, hear the truth. Hear the truth. One is missing, right? And I accidentally wrote a little note in one of the books.
And it says, to my wife.
Yeah.
So now we have.
And so that's the only one that could be found. Yeah. And now I am banned, literally banned from using that book because of that statement.
No, but you have been using it. And as a matter of fact, folks, we have been, every now and again, it's one of the books we pick up and we reread.
Yeah.
Right? And what Hicks says, and Esther, is that death, which you're talking about, death is... it won't happen unless
until you're in agreement.
We decide this is it.
And that's that. I had some difficulty in coming to grips with that thought. But then when I run it over in my mind, it makes sense. It doesn't matter the nature of the death, whether it's a tragic one, an accident or whatever. At that point of transition, you have to be in alignment with that energy force that is there to take you over to the next stage. Right.
They basically say you won't need, there is no death, like you won't die.
No.
Because the usual question is, well, why is it if we don't need to die, why is it that everybody dies? And the answer is, because nobody believes they can live forever.
Exactly.
Therefore, so I don't know. That's like semantics to me, because we all have to die. No matter what you think and how much of attuned you are to the universe, it's just one of those principles you got to go. Yeah. Hopefully later than sooner, right?
Yeah. And we're all here for a limited time only. But let me just welcome our audience once again. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, or you're joining us late, we had some technical difficulties earlier. It's all sorted out now. And I want to thank you for allowing us into your space. You're listening to the Liquid Green Health Show, and today we are talking about the law of attraction. We're trying to tie that into the well-being of our existence, on this planet.
Because what we know is that we create our own reality.
Yes, we do.
And how do we do that? Nobody else can create your reality, but we seem to give people power over us, right?
Yeah, and well, we create our own reality simply by our thoughts.
And making our
everything starts with a thought. Yeah. Right? And so whatever those thoughts are, when it becomes a reality, before it becomes a reality, you have to nurture it. You have to think on it. It's not the thoughts that are really bad, it's your thinking, right? It is your thinking that creates that vibration, and the more you think on something, whether it's perceived to be good or bad, it's the stronger the vibration will become. And it will eventually manifest outwardly, and that's my understanding.
And it's funny, we see that because even with little children, they come into this world and they're equipped, knowing that emotionally they have the power within them.
Mhm.
Now, I don't understand, again, scientifically how that translates as they grow, but look at any 2-year-old. You cannot tell a 2-year-old that they don't own this world.
No, a perfect example is the video that we saw
Oh, yeah.
with that little kid. How old is she? How old is that
She's
child?
one and a little bit.
Right.
She's
And
just started to walk.
The determination to
Yeah.
walk, to get to the gate.
Yeah,
She crawled on concrete,
yes,
right? And went to that gate.
to go through,
Opened the gate and went outside.
And her
Right.
mom,
Determination.
this is Trudy's daughter, Trudy and Brian's daughter,
Yeah.
Kalena, who you've seen in the past in Jamaica. And she's just learned to walk and walking in the shoes.
Mhm.
And she is determined
To get to
to
the gate.
get to that gate. And they're going to have to be so careful because that gate leads to a very busy street. So
Mhm.
that's the power of the 2-year-old, of the mind.
Power of the mind.
They say even babies, when they're sick,
Yeah.
will have, I don't know what it is, but they will know what it takes to get into that state, to raise their vibrations and get.
And that's a good example.
Mhm.
If a young child, right, or a toddler can do something like that,
Mhm.
what happened as we grow that caused us to not believe in that ability, that innate ability that we have, where we should be able to heal ourselves.
Right.
We should be able to manifest things in our life without going to an external source, without going to a pastor or going to church to hear to listen to somebody to tell us, well, this is what you have to do. But in order to do it, you have to look to this entity to get that strength.
Yes.
Right. So what has happened to us, many of us, that ability, that power that we have, that innate power has been dumbed down.
Right. But how do we get it back? Like, we know what to do. It's dumbed down because of family and stress and job.
Noise. We live in a world of noise.
Husbands that cow down wives and wives that whatever. The perfect wives that don't do anything to husbands, yes. And
oh, that happened again. Yeah, go ahead.
But we know that it's through focusing. Like, we talk about meditation. Yeah. Do you want to tell us what you know? What have you learned?
In my opinion, meditation is the most powerful, and I would say it is simple, but it is also the best form of focusing on your spiritual self to get into alignment with that vibrational energy that we ought to get in. The energy must be compatible. Any energy lane that you get into that is not compatible with your thinking or your desire, you will have a problem.
Right. And meditation basically helps you to feel good.
Yes. It opens up the channels so that you can get into that space that you ought to be in to experience a life. Yeah.
Right? Because good begets good.
Yes.
And as they say, you get what you
get exactly what you're thinking of, and that's basically.
But besides meditation, like the visualizations that people do, like when you talk to the gurus who talk about the laws of attraction, they talk about the vision board or the mood board.
That is a form of meditation too.
It is.
You're just doing it in a visual sense.
Right. And the frequency.
Yes.
If you think of something that you really want, you can't just set it to an intention and then forget about it. Yeah. It's something that you have to constantly
repetition, because I'm of the opinion, and I mean, I might, other people may have different opinions. I'm of the opinion that if you do not impregnate or impress the mind, nothing is going to happen. And that's why it takes a certain amount of time.
Precisely. And something as simple as keeping a journal. Yeah. Because I know 1000% for me, if it's not written down, it's not going to happen. So anything, and they also say the important thing about the law of attraction is that once you set that intention, once you put it in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
you basically have to believe it has already happened.
Yes, you must. It must be done with such such
Force.
an emotional,
Yes.
It's like hitting a nail with a hammer. If you just tap on it, it's going to take much longer,
right.
Unless what you're nailing is extremely soft. But if you were to drive it with force,
yeah, because you have to basically convince yourself. Because a lot of people, we're going to talk about health in a minute.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who think, okay, they pray or they meditate, etc., and it doesn't happen. Why is this, right? But you can't trick your mind. Like, you might think you're doing the right thing, but in reality, you're not convinced.
Yeah.
You haven't convinced. Your inner self is not convinced.
There's a song,
and therefore,
yeah, there's a tune, there's an R&B tune that was done by the OJs. I think it was in the 70s or probably 80s. No, not money, money, money. He said, yeah, in the part of the lyric says, your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. And that is a perfect example of some people call it pray and miss, right? Or you're praying or you're wishing for something vocally, but the mind is somewhere else, right? The mind is focusing on something. So whatever the mind is focusing on, that is what you're impressing the universe with.
What you believe gets conceived.
Gets conceived, right.
I like that. What you believe gets conceived.
Yeah.
What you resist persists. It's awful, it's tough, it's difficult, but can everybody, do you think, reach this level where we can really attract what we want into our lives? Let's say somebody
everyone has the ability, but not everyone has the knowledge, not everyone has the discipline, not everyone has the determination. So because we live in a world of I like to call it noise. We live in a society that everything, because of convenience, you got to happen right away. There's a lot of impatience. Meditation, folks, takes time. It takes weeks, months, sometimes years to develop that ability to tap into that
mindset,
that vibrational pull,
to change our mindsets. Because so many of us have a mindset of scarcity.
Yes.
Or lack.
Right.
And if you cannot beat that, and that's usually through your meditation, through your affirmations.
Yes.
And you say them and you believe them. Then
and listen,
then things can change. Right? And you have to be grateful. And you have to be understanding, and you have to be at peace with the people you live with.
And you also have to have the ability to allow.
Yes.
Allow.
And compassion.
When I say allow, this is what I mean, folks. When you're wishing and hoping for something, whether you pray or you meditate or not, and then you start placing doubts as to whether you're going to get it, right? You're contradicting your own self. Your own creative power is now being contradicted. You're limiting yourself. You're limiting God, right? As to the ability to provide these things for you. Like I have friends that will say, man, I'm broke constantly.
Right. Yes.
I'm broke.
And that's
Miss Salt.
Right. That's the Jamaican.
Miss Salt.
But
right.
That comes back though from, as you say, in the beginning, we're all born with the innate ability to create our own future. And that is how family, generational curse, all of those things that take away from us, right? Because if you're in a home like ours when we were young, as I said, sometimes we thought we were rich, but we really know that our mom struggled to make ends meet, to pay off 5 school fees for 5 girls going to private schools at the same time, right?
But that level of belief that you had then.
But then what we heard, it would have been, there's not enough. Like, we have to, we have to be.
You got to skimp on what you have.
Yes, and we have to share. And but sharing is okay though.
Sharing is okay, but that also instills a sense of what's the term I'm looking for? It also creates a sense of fear, right?
Yeah.
It creates a sense of fear and a sense of lack.
I laughed because I thought while you were talking, I thought totally beside the point, but a thought just came to me. When we were in Vancouver at my brothers, Brenton and Wilma's house, you know, we spent some time with them. And I was cooking and we had a whole chicken and I cut it up in pieces. And she says, "Oh my God, Janet, you're just like your brother. You cut up the chicken, so many small pieces, you know?" Yeah. And she says, "It must have been because there were so many of you. There were 8 of you. And then when it's all cut up,
everybody gets a piece.
It's easier to share."
Easier to share.
So
right.
That's what I'm talking about. If Wilma was able to see that, that's something that now is ingrained with us, because even though in Jamaica, 1 chicken, anybody listening in the Caribbean or in the...
1 chicken feeds a family of 8 easily.
In the countries that are not as affluent, whether that's South America, wherever in the world, we can do with much less.
Yes.
Like a little can go a lot. Whereas here, my son could eat a whole pizza.
Yeah. Everything is in abundance here because it's easy. The convenience of getting it, you know, that's what it is. Right.
So do we have any emails?
We have one, and this is from Larry, and Larry says, "Hello, Coxes. This is a very different take on your show, and I love it. A bit of philosophy, psychology, and the Bible. I love it. Blessings." Thank you very much for that. Yeah, we decided that today, you know, we'll throw a wedge in the way we do things, kind of stir things up a bit, because listen, this is a health show. And you cannot really consider being healthy unless you apply some spiritual principles, right? And regardless of how you want to apply it, if you want to do it through prayer, you want to do it through meditation, but to understand that there is a force that is greater than you are, and you have to learn how to align with that force in order for things to manifest in your life. You have to understand that if you want good things to happen, it must happen from a holistic point of view. And
that we have to turn everything positive, everything negative in our lives, we have to turn it around. Because it's only by turning the negatives into positives that we're going to be able to get into that place of wellness.
Yeah. But you know what? Again, this is a controversial statement I'm going to make. I do not accept the fact that there's anything negative. No. But it's your thinking that makes it so. It's your thinking. No. Okay. Every energy that you get is good, whether it's the negative energy or the good energy.
This physics,
it's all good.
Is always positive.
Yeah. In that sense, in the physics, yes. Yeah. But when it comes to you, when you align yourself with it, what you do with it, right, is not necessarily bad. It's just how you think that makes it so.
Right. Well, that's true.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, it does make sense. It's not like everything.
Because the energy is good. The energy is always pure.
For example, take death.
Yes.
It's just a force. It's there.
Yeah.
But how we think about it is what makes it bad.
Because we have been taught to fear it. We have been taught to, death. You know, humans are the only species on earth that when they see another dead body, they run. Right? The animals don't do it. We're the only people, when you see a dead or you hear something but death, you run.
Yeah. Right? But what I was going to say is, when we think about death, your mom dies.
Yes.
And for some people like us, it was not a sad event. We will miss her. We remember her, remember the good times. We think about how she was when she was like laying there terrible. But there are some people where a death occurs, depending on the situation, of course, because an old sick mother is much different than a little baby who's not, who's at birth, dies at birth, or a baby or a 17-year-old or a 30-year-old, somebody who we think has not gone and they have not experienced full life. But no matter what the situation, that's why I love Joan for this, because her son died, and the equanimity that she had.
Yes.
I
Very,
felt
very strong.
like
Very
I don't
powerful.
know what position I would be in, but I hope that if that were ever, Kofi, I'm not wishing anything on you, you're hearing this, but for anybody out there, if we can learn to transcend the present and make whatever the situation is in the present,
Yes,
that we can deal with the present, then the future is not a problem.
but you know what? It's easier said than done.
Easier.
But as much as I
Mhm.
talk about meditation, but as much as I practice it, I am not as disciplined as I should be.
You lose it.
Yes.
You're in an argument and you get upset.
Yeah. And that's a part of my nature I really have to control.
Yeah.
Because number one, I detest when I perceive somebody to be talking nonsense. That's my opinion, right? And I tend to shut them down because, hey, you're not on the same vibrational level as I am. And I shouldn't do it.
Right.
I shouldn't do it.
Because everybody has to be respected for whatever level they're
at. I shouldn't do it. And I'm guilty of that. Right. But at the same time,
because we are all energy.
It's practice, that I don't know. I have a lot of work to do, folks. I'm the first to admit that.
Well, we all do. We all do. Because, I mean, anybody who admits that they have no faults, they have a big problem. Yeah. Right?
They're idiots.
Gary, I like to pull you into the discussion.
Oh, boy.
Where do you stand on the law of attraction? Do you believe you are your thoughts?
I do. I think to some extent we are. With the things we're thinking about, we're interested in the mind and the soul and the body. So I would say yes to that.
And Mike, where are you? Does it work for you where you can actually think something into being?
He's not there.
Mike, okay.
Yeah,
Mike,
but
what about, I'll throw that
I
out
can,
to you.
yes,
You can,
I can.
right?
I definitely can. I don't do it as often now because, again, I've been distracted, the noise. And when I say noise, I'm talking about all the distractions that we have. You have businesses that you're running, you got cell phones, and then you end up going to bed late and you can't focus on what you really want to manifest. And it's frustrating because it comes a time when you look back and you say, well, what have I done? I know what I'm supposed to do. And what have I done to make it happen? But I know I have that power and I can do it.
Yeah. It's the self-talk. It's it's the messages we send to ourselves that can be. Now, I know that I'm an optimist.
Yes, very much.
For me, the glass is usually
sometimes too optimistic.
Full. And when you look at the signs, I'm Virgo, and it's some of the things in Virgo, it never applies to me, the entertaining stuff.
Yes.
But when we go a little bit deeper and I look and I see what they say, optimism is actually good for you, because when you're optimistic, they say you have less stress. Yeah. Your business usually goes better. This is not about me now. This is about optimistic people, right? And they can step boldly into the world and they take risks. Yes. So when other people are saying, no, you can't do this, and they're so timid and fearful, optimism is one of the things that leads you into positive vibrations. I agree. Remember that Jamaica song, Positive Vibration, yeah, positive. Right. We should start singing Bob Marley. Yeah. That's Bob Marley. That's no, he was a Guyanese, Yeah. So the self-talk, right? Because one good thing. Let me just read another email here. Yeah. I guess most people are intently listening today. Hello to the Coxes. Loving the show today. A very cool and interesting topic. I can listen to this all day. We can all relate. Thanks. And you know what? Grace had sent one earlier before we thought we were going to be on air. Yeah. And she had said, we may not be able to see you today, but you sound marvelous. So, Grace, thank you. And now that you're seeing us, I hope you're thinking we also look marvelous. She says, love your show. Yeah. And you know what? Everybody, I know this is mostly a listening audience. Yes. But we're asking our friends, thousands of our friends, over the world listening, we're asking you, when you're done, go to your computer
or your cell phone,
go on YouTube, and boom, press that button.
Yes, subscribe, please. We need that support. We need that boost.
Yes, because you know how it is with YouTube, and we're trying to do the visual as well as the listening.
Now, you had some other things you wanted to talk about in relation to the vibrational, the laws of attraction and health, healing, that kind of stuff.
Illness.
Yes.
What we had said was, why are we sick? Right?
And
if there is, usually, if like
you know my answer to this.
Right, go ahead.
My answer to this, we get sick because we invite the sickness.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. Whether you can doubt this as much as you want, folks, but the only reason we get sick is because at some point in time in your life, you had focused on that illness. This is why scientists say that it is a, what science they call it? Pseudoscience. Right? And you find that a lot of people can't accept this, but the reality is, it is true. You get what you asked for.
I know they say it is so. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And if I don't like it, I don't really believe it, because I don't believe if I'm on the road and a car crashes into me when I was paying attention and I wasn't drinking, that it's my fault. I cannot.
It's something that it's a price that you're paying for something. And it goes back to reincarnation. I mean, this is a whole different topic. We can have this at another time, but the reality is, in the spiritual realm, that is how things are perceived to be.
Now, there is something that I wanted you to read.
Yeah.
And that's, it's from the book. The book is Ask
Reading,
Given.
Yeah.
And this is one of the treatments, because when you're having situations that's bothering you, when you're ill, when you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're lost your job, or death of a child, a spouse, a parent, whatever, any of the horrible things that happens to us as humans, but the things that we have to go through. So because this is a health show, I really picked this out, and I wanted listeners can actually change these.
Yes.
And so if it relates to your finances, you can change it. These are affirmations. So this is an example of some of the affirmations. You can do a few of them. If you are ill, if you're sick and you want to get rid of a disease, this is what they say. So when you go into the quiet, I don't know why everything's
it keeps freezing on us, but we'll work around it. And in the interest of time, we gotta hurry up.
Okay, go ahead. So read a few.
So here's some excerpts.
Voice.
Oh, my meditation. I got to take a drink for that. And it says here that you should write a short list in place where it will be easy for you to read these affirmations. And when when you first lie down or you're just sitting by yourself, just read it slowly to yourself. And it says, "It is natural for my body to be well. Even if I don't know what to do in order to get better, my body does." And that's a very powerful thing, because the human body is such an intelligent creation.
And it's not only on a spiritual level, it's also on a physical level.
Yes.
Because we know that if you were to go on a water fast for 3 days and allow all the junk in your body to start eliminating itself, that your microbiome will take care of itself.
And not only that, if you give the microbiome the proper nutrients,
it does the work.
It does the work for it. You don't need the medicine. And here it says, "I have trillions of cells with individual consciousness, and they know how to achieve their individual balance." Powerful, because every cell in the human body is communicating with the universe.
Correct.
Whether you accept this or not, there's a constant communication, and those cells have their own intelligence, and they know exactly what to do. For example, when you eat, you don't have to tell yourself that the waste has to be emptied. The cells in the body knows exactly who's going to do it and when it's going to be done. When this condition began, I didn't know what I know now.
Right.
Right? If I had known then what I know now, this condition couldn't have gotten started. And it comes back to what we said earlier. Lack of knowledge leads to disease, it leads to illness, it leads to lack, it leads to, financial disparity, right? There's a lot of things.
Yeah. And it's really weird. Have you ever heard somebody say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I'm feeling so good, I'm feeling so well. I'm so sad that I'm healthy. Never, right? But then I'm just changing things a little bit, because I just remembered this, a thought that came to me, that for so many of us, with this law, this attraction, we feel that if we want something good, that we're selfish. Right? And there is so much stuff out there. There's so much in abundance.
Again,
that we never ever have to feel that we're taking away.
Never, because there's enough for everybody. But society has placed that burden upon us that what we get is ours and we must not share. Right. It's a me society. And so that greed factor steps in with everything from businesses, even the churches are greedy. Right?
Yes.
They practice it.
Religion is greedy because every single great religion says this is the right one.
Precisely.
They're ethnocentric. Every family think their kids are the best.
And they teach that God says I'm a selfish God. Right? So if God is selfish, then why can't we? But folks, we are getting to that point where we're going to have to say goodbye soon. But before I do that, once again, I want to remind everyone that you're listening to the Liquid Green Health Show. My name is Fred. This is my co-host, Janet. And today we've put a different spin on our topics that we normally present. We've decided that, if we're going to talk about health, we need to include the spiritual aspect of the well-being. Yes. And that's the reason why we are talking about these things today, because as individuals from the human species, it is important to understand that there is a direct connection to the universe from a spiritual perspective that can, if you practice, will make you feel a lot better than you're feeling today.
I have an email I want to read from Jody, who actually, she did what we asked. And Jody went to the YouTube to subscribe, and it says, hello, Coxes. I hope Mike will help us with this after. She says, I have been to your YouTube videos. How come we cannot leave a message, a comment? We can subscribe, but we cannot leave a comment. All other videos allow that. Thanks. I didn't even realize.
It probably is accidentally turned off.
Really?
The comment section. So we'll have to look into that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Jody. There's also one from Eric, and Eric says, a new name for your show, the Cox Philosophy Radio Show.
The Cox Psychology Radio Show.
Oh, where did I get philosophy from? Okay.
Philosophy, psychology.
Psychology. Okay. It's Saturday and Sunday rather. Okay. Again, it's getting to that time and we have to, see what else we can put in here as quickly as possible.
What time do we have? You have a few minutes.
I do.
Yeah, because
we have a function we're going to.
I know.
Right.
No, what if you could? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah, you always do. So.
If you could get to bring to yourself anything you wanted to right now, what would it be?
Health. I'll stay with the health part of it.
That was easy.
Yeah, I honestly believe that for me, health is the most important thing. And I'll tell you why. If you don't have optimum health, if you're not functioning properly, your faculties are not functioning properly, your physiology is not in good shape, you cannot enjoy life the way it was intended. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how much love you're getting from anyone. It doesn't matter how spiritual you want to be. Right, your health is number one. So for me, health is number one.
And how
then are you spirituality.
And how are you going to get healthy? This is to wrap it up. You're going to get healthy by
eating properly, giving the body the right nutrition, the proper nutrition, and staying away from certain vices like drugs and toxic
That's all in the
condition.
physical. What about
the
in
mind?
emotional?
The mind itself, you have to stay away from toxic things that will cause the mind to bring about illness.
Try not to upset other people.
Don't get upset
Be
unnecessary.
grateful
Yeah.
for things.
Give thanks. Allow.
For whatever you are, because one of there are three basic laws when it comes to the attraction, and one was like attracts like.
Correct.
Whatever you think about, you're going to get more.
It's
of
going to
it,
come. Yes.
Right. And the other one is, it says nature abhors a vacuum.
Yes.
So if you have cleansed, if you have cleared things away, you
Very
cannot
good
leave
point.
it.
Don't leave it empty.
Because hopefully something else is going to come in.
Something that you wouldn't like.
Good.
Right. And that's why every once in a while on the physicals, clean the house, make room for new things to come in.
And we did talk about the third principle was the present.
Yes.
Always perfect.
Yeah.
So if you can accept that, we want our listeners to agree with us that no matter what your circumstance, no matter what your situation, you are it, and only you can change it. You have things to help you to change it, but it can only be changed with the power of your thoughts and the power of your mind.
Power of the mind. And with that, folks, we will say, we will end the show with this quote: good health is central to human happiness and well-being. It contributes significantly to prosperity, wealth, and even economic progress. And as healthy individuals, we can be more productive and may even live longer. So until next Sunday, same time, same station.
Just a minute. I want to say a big shout out. Thank you, Gary. You always hold down the fort. Yes. And today was one of those days, and
thank you very much.
And thank you, Mike. You always come through. I don't know what went on.
We got the best producers in the business, folks. So that's why we look so good today, because they make us look good, right? So with that, this is Janet and Fred saying, let's stay healthy on Reality Radio. On Reality Radio 101. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Liquid Green Health Show with your hosts, Fred and Janet Cox, right here on Reality Radio 101.